Hi, I'm glad you could be here. I'm Nadine Whitehead, and this is my life of baking. I'm here with my granddaughter Brianna, and we're getting ready to make a chocolate eclair cake. Boy, it's yummy. But the first thing we're doing is we're boiling together a cup of water and a half a cup of butter. And I have that on the stove, and as soon as it's boiling, we're gonna put in the flour and the eggs and we're gonna make a crust. So if you want to see what I'm doing, it's not very exciting, but but I have my butter and my water all cooking. Well, we got our butter and water boiling together, and now we're going to add a cup of flour and get that all stirred in. A little bit more. Level that off. There you go. Thank you. We're gonna mix this flour in really well. It says to stir it vigorously, so that's what I'm trying to do. And the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add 1 egg at a time, and we have 4 eggs to add in. Would you like to get a small cup out of the cupboard so you can break the egg into the cup to dump in here, please? That works. All right. See, with the flour in, it just looks like a, kind of like a paste. Not quite a dough yet. So we've got 1 egg is going in, and we'll get that beat in. And you're supposed to beat each egg into the mixture at a time. Good job. Got that eggshell out of there. She rescued it. Okay, so I've got 1 egg pretty well mixed in. And this one is already half broke, so shouldn't take long. Thank you. And we're getting the second egg mixed in. I'm gonna have a tired arm when I get done with all of this. Gotta scrape it all off the sides. Then we get the 3rd egg in there. And we'll have 1 more to do. It takes a lot of time to beat in those eggs, but we're getting them incorporated. And here's the last one. And we're gonna put it in our pan, and we're gonna spread it into a 9x13 pan, and it will be the crust for our chocolate eclair cake. We got the pan ready, and we put a little more shortening on the bottom of the pan than we did on the walls, because if you put too much shortening up the wall of the pan, then the crust isn't gonna go up the side, it won't stick. So that's what we want it to do, and make like a little cup at the bottom of the pan. There we go. Look at there. It's a nice batter. And we're gonna get that. Could you get me a rubber scraper, please, so we can get it all out of the pan? Oh, thank you. So I'm gonna scrape this out of the pan. We want every bit of that dough in there. Okay. We're gonna pour this into the pan. We can get all of it out of here with this rubber scraper. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we're gonna spread this out, and we want to spread it up the side of the pan a little bit. This is a really nice dough, and we want it even as we can get it. Maybe you get me that little knife over there that I stuck in the... Thank you. I'm going to use a little knife to spread this a little more evenly. A little offset knife is so valuable in your kitchen. It's much easier to spread things evenly, and you keep your fingers out of it on the most part. My favorite is, I have an older one from Wilton, and that's my favorite knife. I think we about got it. Got a little too much on that end. All right. There you go. It's all up the side of the pan a little bit and ready to go in the oven. And it's gonna cook at 400 degrees for about 40 minutes. So we'll put that in the oven, and then I'm gonna go gather some more ingredients, and I will be right back so we can make the filling. This is the start of our filling, and we have a large box of vanilla pudding, and that's like a 5.1 ounce, so it's the large box. And we're gonna put that into the mixer bowl. And then we're going to add 3 cups of milk. It's just what the recipe calls for. So we'll do that, and we're gonna mix that slowly.
Why do you have to mix it slowly?
So it's a lot of liquid, and it would tend to splash out of the bowl if you turned it up too high. So we've got that pretty well made, and now we're going to stick that in the refrigerator and get it chilled so it will be firmer before we move on to make the rest of the filling. Okay, now we're going to make the chocolate sauce that goes on top of the Eclair cake. So I have added a cup of sugar and a half a cup of cocoa, and I've been stirring that just to get it blended and the little bumps in the cocoa broke up, and it was a little tough to get those with the whisk. So I just took a kitchen glass and smashed all those little cocoa pieces so that they would break up, and now it's looking pretty good. So I'm going to put it on about a little over medium heat, and I'm going to add a half a cup of water, and I also added about 1/8 teaspoon of salt. So I'm going to cook this till it all comes to a boil, and I only have to boil it for about a half a minute once it does come to a boil. So in the meantime, I'm going to stir this until it gets there, and then we will have chocolate sauce to go on top of our Eclair cake. It's already starting to come together. It's looking really good. Just waiting for it to come to a boil. It's looking real good. I'm trying to get all the pieces, cocoa and the things that are stuck to the side of the pan down into the cocoa. And I'm using a coated wire whip because I have like a Calphalon pan type pan, and you don't want to scratch it with a regular metal whisk. So I have a coated one, and it's just about there. It's just about to the boiling. I'm liking the looks of this. It's really coming together nice. And I can see some little bubbles coming, so it won't be long. It will be boiling. And like I said, you only have to boil it for about a half a minute once it does start boiling. I think I lost my little helper. I would have had her stir some for me. All right, we've got the chocolate sauce off the stove, It boiled really nice, and we're gonna add a teaspoon and a half of vanilla in there and get that all mixed in. All right, that looks really good. And then we're gonna take and pour that chocolate sauce back through a sieve just to make sure we don't have any lumps or any pieces of cocoa that didn't dissolve all the way, because we want a nice smooth chocolate sauce. So we're pouring that right through the sieve. Let me get a rubber scraper here. We'll make sure we get all the chocolate sauce out of the pan. There we go. And that looks wonderful. And we'll use that in just a little bit when we assemble our chocolate eclair cake. Okay, we are going to finish the filling. We made the pudding a little while ago and it's got nice and firm. And we have 8 ounces of cream cheese in the mixer. I'm gonna turn that on just for a minute and get that kind of softened up. And that looks good. And we're gonna slowly add the pudding in there. So we'll start with that. And slowly, slowly put that pudding in there. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit more in, trying to get it all incorporated into that cream cheese. Oops, got a little on the counter. There we go. That looks really good. That looks really good for the filling. That looks nice. And that's the pudding with the cream cheese in it. Looks really good. So we're just gonna leave that sit here for a minute. You wanna scrape on that a little with this and make sure all that cream cheese is not stuck to the wall. And the next thing I'm gonna do is make some whipped cream. I'm gonna grab the other bowl and get that hooked up on here. Maybe. All right, that's in there and ready to go. Okay, I'm getting ready to make some whipped cream. So I have to have a little bit of sugar, and I'm gonna have a cup of whipping cream, and I'm pouring that in the mixer, and I have the wire beater again. And then I'm gonna add about 2 teaspoons of vanilla, or a teaspoon and a half, I guess is what I added. And I'm gonna add about a couple tablespoons of sugar. And I'm just eyeballing that. So we'll put that in there, and then we're gonna start this up. We're gonna check that, and I think it's good. See, it'll stand up on its own pretty much. All right. So we have our whipped cream, we have our filling, we have our chocolate, the crust is cooling, and we'll be right back to put it all together. Okay, we're ready to assemble our chocolate eclair cake. So the first thing we have to do, we got the crust was cooling and we had to get this over here, but the crust absolutely bubbled. It's like a pat a choux that you would make a cream puff out of, and it actually blew up just like a cream puff almost. So we're gonna add the filling. There's gonna be some places that have a lot of crust and some places that don't. So here we go. Ooh, that looks so good. And again, this filling was made with vanilla pudding and cream cheese. So if you see a couple little bits of cream cheese, that's just some cream cheese that didn't incorporate as well as it should have. but it all tastes really good. Okay, and the next thing is going to be the whipped cream on top, and I'm going to use a piping bag, and I'm going to pipe the whipped cream onto it. So I'm getting the piping bag ready.
Why do you put it around your hand like that?
That's so I can keep the sides down so they don't get all messy, and I can hold the bag that way. It stays on my hand. So we'll put all this whipped cream in there. See, it doesn't move at all when I push down on that whipped cream. It stays right there. Got the whipped cream in the bag, and then we're just gonna pull that up and try not to get too much whipped cream on it as we pull that up. Twist it around a little and hold on to it between your thumb and your forefinger. And then you can just squeeze with your other finger. And we're gonna add some little stars all over the top of this of whipped cream. And then back down. Does that look good?
Yeah, it looks really good.
Maybe should have made some more whipped cream. I'm almost out. Push it all down. Boy, we cut that close. Now we've got the whipped cream on there, and we're gonna drizzle some chocolate across the top. And this is to finish the chocolate eclair cake. Okay, very slowly. We're gonna drizzle all that chocolate across that whipped cream. It's gonna get stuck in all those little crevices. Go back and forth the other way. And I think that's probably about as much as that's gonna hold. So.
That looks delicious.
It does. I bet you're just dying to try a bite too.
Yeah.
Well, you'll need to get a spatula and a plate. Awesome, thank you. So we'll cut this. Oh boy, it's soft. I think we need to chill it first before we do too much cutting, but I bet I can get a piece out of here for you. All the pudding and all the chocolate and all the whipped cream. That looks so good. Might have to cut it.
That's really good.
Are you surprised?
I've never had an Eclair cake before.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm Nadine Whitehead. This has been my life of baking with my granddaughter Brianna, and we've had fun putting this chocolate eclair cake together. I can't wait to see you all next time.